Hi guys, you have McGann, and I am here with another episode of There I Read It, where I'm going over the Harry Potter books for the first time ever in my life, chapter by chapter. So I do not read ahead for these, I do not know what's coming in a lot of cases. I have seen all 8 of the movies, but not since they were new, so there's a lot that I've forgotten. And today we are in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire Chapter 12, which is called the Triwizard Tournament. And this was one of those things, like, I knew it was coming, but the book had had some build-up and mystery and intrigue on the subject of, well, what's going on at the school? Why will nobody tell us students what's happening? But I am glad that we are finally at Hogwarts now, because we're 12 chapters in and just really getting there, and it's kind of, it's bizarre that we've gotten so much time outside of the school. So I imagine that the events that happened during the Quidditch World Cup have got to be extremely significant for what's to come. Otherwise, we wouldn't have taken so much time on that. But hey, we got to spend loads of extra chapters with the Weasleys because of it, so I am living the dream right now. Actually, not right now anymore, because now we're away from the Weasley house and I'm sad again. I need to know what the function of a rubber duck is. Okay, so the kids are finally getting into the Hogwarts castle, and there's this huge storm outside, and Ron thinks that the lake out there might overflow. But inside the castle, it's apparently just as wet because Peeves the poltergeist is dropping water bombs. I assume they mean balloons, but they keep saying water bombs. But he's dropping them on the students like a major pain in the butt. And Colin Creevey finally resurfaces. I was kind of wondering about that because he was in the Chamber of Secrets, but I don't recall him even being mentioned in the book after that. So it's kind of strange how people just pop up and then vanish. Like, you know, you're not in school together all the time. But then again, Colin is like a year below Harry, so maybe that's the justification that, you know, do you really hang out with 7th graders if you're an 8th grader, that kind of thing. But anyways, Colin Creevey is now a 3rd-year student, and his brother Dennis just got accepted into Hogwarts, and he is a 1st year, of course. And his poor brother Dennis actually fell off the boat to Hogwarts into the lake, and he is just this tiny, you know, the smallest of the 1st-year students. So he's a little tiny baby. He is a teacup student. And there's kind of some debate between Harry and the others of like, well, why do you need to worry about what house Dennis is going to get into? If you're in Gryffindor, then he would be in Gryffindor too, right? And for some reason, he had forgotten about Parvati because she is a twin, and her twin is actually in Ravenclaw. So no, just because you get into Slytherin doesn't mean that your brother can't get into Hufflepuff. I also noticed that they called Professor Flitwick Tiny Little, and I think that that is the first time that they have ever addressed his height, at least in the versions of the books that I have read. I have heard that, you know, they're edited differently in different versions in different countries, so maybe it is not news, but to me, it is the first time I remember reading that Professor Flitwick is a little person. Because when I watched the movie, I remember thinking like, man, they didn't have Flitwick in it. That's too bad. And people came back and told me, no, he was this character. And I was like, oh, it didn't even like, you know, hit me. So if memory serves, Goblet of Fire came out after the first movie. So I'm wondering if this is one of those sort of retroactive changes that the author made to sort of, you know, answer questions or fit things in line better. And if anybody else has seen in books 1 through 3 where it's in the text that they describe Flitwick as a smaller person or maybe even a different kind of creature, let me know in the comments, because I'm very curious on sort of when that started and if this is the first time it's mentioned. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but I'm just curious to figure out if the movies were influencing the books at all. But because the 1st-year students have to take the boats to Hogwarts and it's raining like crazy outside, they are all drenched. And I have trouble believing that there is no spell to fix that. In fact, I'm almost positive that we saw something like that in a different book. I mean, didn't Hermione do something to Harry's glasses so that they wouldn't take so much water and get, to where he couldn't see? They couldn't do anything to help the first years, not even, I don't know, umbrellas. I get that they want the kids to have this big impression, this first magical, soak it up, this place is wonderful thing, and umbrellas might obstruct the view, but come on, necessity, right? Necessity should be over the first impression of Hogwarts. Now, all these kids are going to have pneumonia. And it's explained that the sorting hat used to belong to Godric Gryffindor. It was his legit hat. Then the sorting ceremony's going on. We see Harry notice Cho, I think it's Chang, right? Cho Chang over in another table, and he gets the hots for her. And Peeves is so upset over something or other that he ended up disrupting the people working in the kitchen, and the kids almost didn't get a feast that year because of it, because Peeves is not able to handle himself at all. And at that moment, it is brought up that there are over 100 house elves in Hogwarts just in the kitchen. And Hermione gets so upset and indignant over that she refuses to eat. And I remember thinking in other books that they talked about this had to be cooked by, physical people, that the food wasn't just magicked out of nothing. And I was very curious about that before. And it's interesting how that answer has finally folded back into the story, and how it's conveniently something that, was already brought up with elf slavery. So I'm taking from all of this that the rights of house elves are going to become very important as the story progresses. But then Dumbledore is reading over this list of banned items at the school, and apparently Filch has the authority to make that list, and he has banned 437 items. Another announcement is that there is going to be no Quidditch Cup that year, and then at that moment this weathered-looking man comes in, and he's got these two really weird eyes, and one of them is always darting around everywhere, and that's the Professor Moody that we heard about from the previous chapter. The one who apparently lives in the Muggle world and does weird magical stuff all the time. Like, he's a problem with the Ministry. And Moody has this scarred up arm and a wooden leg, and he just looks like scary. But we don't really get to spend any time getting to know Professor Moody. We go straight into hearing that the Triwizard Tournament is going to be at Hogwarts this year. And it is a 700-year-old tournament between the 3 wizard schools in Europe. There are 3 champions chosen, 1 from each school, and 3 magical tasks have to be competed at. Like, that's the contest. And apparently, Hogwarts used to host the Triwizard Tournament every 5 years, but the death toll got so high that they stopped having it. And really, it looks like the only rule to enter is that you have to be 17 or older. And the twins, Fred and George, are very upset by this. And they're like, we should take some aging potion, and we're gonna, be able to enter that way. Somehow we're gonna fool the selection committee, even though our own teachers will probably be a part of it, and convince them that we're 18 or 17 at this point. But aside from Fred and George kind of grumbling about that situation, because the tournament is going to be hosted at Hogwarts, Beauxbaton and Durmstrang are going to send their candidates for the tournament to Hogwarts, and they will arrive in October and be there for most of the year. Where those people are going to stay, I don't know, because we've seen in previous books, I believe it was Chamber of Secrets, when there's an emergency and all the kids get locked down, they don't put them in another room, they put them in that big common room, and they don't even have any beds or anything. So I don't understand where magic has to turn into practical world items, but the wizarding world seems like a mess. So I hope that these visiting students have a place to stay. I hope you have an aunt that lives nearby in Hogsmeade, because Hogwarts is not fit to handle company. But the banquet's over, the kids all go off to their different common areas, and the Gryffindor Tower password is Boulderdash. And then the book starts mentioning how the house elves actually do a lot around the castle. Like, they're the ones tending to the fires and warming the beds and doing all of these different things. And again, it's making me wonder, where's the magic? What good is the wizarding world and all of this magic that's at their disposal if they have to use slaves to make everything work anyways? Y'all magical or abusive? Pick a lane. But Harry ends up in his bed and he drifts off thinking of winning the Triwizard Tournament and getting Cho Chang. And I don't know. I know, like, Harry has seen Cho Chang before. I think they expressed that he had maybe a little bit of a crush on her, but it seems like that is really intensified right now. So I'm assuming again that that's going to be a big plot point. Maybe a point of jealousy for other people who are into Harry. I don't know. We'll see. But that was the chapter for this week. Again, chapter 12. I really hope that this book starts to pick up because I do feel like the first 12 chapters have been a little bit slow. And, you know, my complaint with the Sorcerer's Stone was like everything's happening too fast and we're not getting enough time to explore the magical universe. And now that we are, it's kind of like, okay, but can we pick up the pacing a little bit because we're lingering too much? Maybe I'm just one of those people who can never be satisfied. I don't know, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and notes on this chapter in the comments below. And also, if you have not yet, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, of course. Anything you want to do, it's always appreciated because the more you interact and share, of course, sharing is caring, the more that this video gets footing and people can be exposed to it and see it, and I don't have to quit because it's a financially irresponsible way for me to spend my time. So if you want more of these, share, comment, you know, make the algorithm love me again. It's not all on you, but any part you want to play is greatly appreciated. Anyways, I will thank you all right here for watching. We will see you next week, and I forgot for a second that I do not have a tagline to close out these Harry Potter videos, so bye guys! Well, Fanily members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that? Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Fanily. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Fanily and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, Fanily members. Bye.